Okay, this is Doc Hertz, God's Vision Ministry. What I want to talk to you, many of you are going to be able to come from my Emil Hertz page and go to my YouTube pages, because I just want to introduce you to what I'm talking about is the fear, nothing to be afraid of, especially what's going on in America now, especially concerning your finances. And I'm going to begin to share with you some things that many of you may not know about. Just for a moment, I'm going to show you something, then I'm going to switch back over so we can talk about it. Okay, you look on the screen, you're going to see what is called United States debt. This is a debt clock, and it shows you the accumulation of all the debt in America and all over the world and what's going on. So for some of you, amen, that may be concerned about your financial future and where you're headed, you may want to stay tuned. So I'm going to click off my regular channel and be on my other channel. So let me do that now. Those you can come on over and see what we're talking about. Okay, now that we're here, let me share this with you. Let's look at it. All right. I want you to pay particular attention to you. I'm going to show you this, and I want you to pay particular attention to a certain area. Okay, if you notice right up here on the debt calendar, the debt clock, you'll see that it says U.S. national debt is $39 trillion. And if you go down here where it says the federal interest, it talks about refunded U.S. total debt. Okay, and that's about $114 trillion. Okay, so if you look at all the other little clock as a steady counting, when we were in business school, they take you to this clock and they're telling you about the debt. And as you see how rapidly the debt is just building. And then that would get you to think that, hey, you're living in a period of what you would call almost hopelessness, right? But I want to show you on that same clock, if you have a debt, there's always something to what will cover the debt. It's like what you would call collateral, something that will keep up with the debt. So let's go back on screen. We're going to look at this part. It's the top of it. And so if you notice, you go to the screen, I want you to see, scroll it down right here at the bottom, the very bottom. It says the U.S. Treasury 100% asset packed dollar, right? So I want you to look over here where you says precious metal reserve. Is you have $1 trillion in steady climbing. Over here you have mineral reserve, which is let's see, it's about 13, something about 4, 5. So this is about $13 trillion in mineral assets, $1 trillion in precious metals. But over here, you see the real estate? The real estate is $87 trillion. And then go to land, it's $30 trillion. Now, we're not going to talk about the stock market. We're not going to talk about the wealth and assets and the other money over here. this is enough money right in these two with the real estate and the land to cover the United States debt, the land and the real estate. So why am I saying that? Why am I telling you that? Because I want you to understand that when people begin to talk to you about assets and different things and money, one of the main things their goal is to keep you in fear. And what fear allows you to do is not to do some of the things you want to do. It causes you to hesitate. It causes you to say, hey, man, I can't do this because, oh, America's about to crumble. This is about to happen. And I'm here to tell you there is nothing to fear. America is not in bad shape as people are trying to get you to believe. And what I'm going to do over the next, I would say, month or so, a couple of months probably, I'm going to take you through different steps to show you how there's some things you need to invest your money into and realize that, hey, while everybody's running off and not paying attention, why you think these people becoming billionaires? There is a gap that is happening. There is a technology boom that is happening. But while that's happening, the people who are afraid are just sitting still, staying pat, aren't doing anything. And that's where you're going to be left behind, because there's certain things you need to move on. You're not going to move on because you're afraid. You've had, and this is the thing about the fear that's going out. Not only is the fear that they work through politics and voting, which is the main voting thing, is get the people afraid enough and they'll be willing to vote for anything. And so what's happening is, as that fear happens and they're spreading propaganda, even people who have educated, people who are well off financially, and some of them, they're well off financially, but they aren't educated in finance, meaning that you could have had a great job doing a great thing, and yet you don't know what to do with your finance. And the people are moving from California to Texas, from Texas to Florida, trying to get dual citizenship. And it's the propaganda machine is working because it's scaring the people so bad that the people are ready to leave the country. They're packing up, and a lot of them getting ready to move. But listen, America is not about to fold its tent for anybody. They're not about to give up all of this land, property, and materials and minerals that they have right here, no matter what they got you thinking. And those of us who know better are going to do what? They're going to cash in. They're gonna cash in while everybody else is running off thinking the sky is falling. And believe me, it's not falling. So I want you to understand there's so many things that people put fear in you, that once the fear is in you, you don't know what to do, and you just like a deer in the headlights. You're just gonna stand there until either you get hit by a car, or you get shot by a rifle. So we're not going to do that. We're going to move forward. We're going to realize there's nothing to fear, and that's even with your faith. Even with your faith, you cannot fear. Oh, it's everything is going to happen. Listen, you're going to learn some things, and I'm gonna show you that debt clock. So this is what I want you to do. I'm gonna put it back up on the screen. I want you to go and get the website so that you'll be able to go to this debt clock and check it out for yourself. It's usdebtclock.org. Usdebt.org. Usdebtclock.org. And you'll be able to go through it, take your time and go through it yourself. So don't just believe what I'm saying or disbelieve what I'm saying. Check it out for yourself. And then you will see what's going on with the debt. So when I begin to break it down and talk about it, you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm going to talk about some things that you need to invest in to turn your money over fast enough so that you'll make a great return on your finances, that you don't just have to sit and the things that you need to do to become an investor in yourself or whatever you like to do. But you need to make some investment, because if you have, say you get a paycheck and out of the paycheck at the end of the month, you got $100. But if you got $100 left out of everything spent, how much of that $100 can you invest to turn over? Or how many months it takes you to save $100 or save $50, so that you can, or do something extra so you can get some extra money and enough to invest in a business, and how much that you can invest into a business where you can make some money. There's an investment I'm going to show you how you can take. I would say, uh, be honest with you. I'll just say this: $100, $100, and you can go into business. Now, when I tell you about going into business, you're going to realize exactly when I explain it to you. But it's a principle that's so common. Just $100, you can go in business. Later on, we may talk about other things where you have to take more capital, but you can go in business and you begin to make a profit just by doing some simple things. Okay, let me share this with you. Say you're at home, you're watching me on video, and you don't know, say what you want to do or get involved with. And you decide that you want to uh make some money, extra money, just a little bit of money. Say you say I don't have $100, right? Okay, this is how you get $100. I'm sure you got some water, pitcher, sugar, right? You can go and for about 47 cents, you can buy a pack of Kool-Aid, one pack of Kool-Aid. It may take $3 and about 50 cents to buy 28 bottles of water. It'll take about maybe $4 for some sugar. And you take that sugar and that Kool-Aid and you go and you buy you maybe 4 packs and you make the Kool-Aid and buy you some cups, right? And as you take those cups, put them in your freezer. And there is some kids, some neighborhoods, some friends, or somebody, especially in the South, that's out there. And they have them all over the country, from New York City all the way to California and all throughout the South, and even up north. They call it frozen cup. They would call it the frozen cup lady. And what the frozen cup lady would do was take a little few frozen cups and she start making her money, selling them 50 cents. Now he's running about $1. And you make it, freeze it, and sell it to the kids. Just be patient. And even though you're doing it at your own house, you're still, you're making money, but you got to be careful because you want to transition from making a few dollars being in your home to then eventually transferring to something where you can get a license. But the principle is still the same. You start with what you got. Your little becomes much, So that's what I want to share with you. You don't need a whole lot to start having a business mind. Once you get a business mind and a business mindset, you won't see things the same and you'll go on to bigger. You should progress to bigger and better things. So with that, I'm going to leave you right now, but I wanted you to see the US debtclock.org where you can check it out. And don't be afraid about them talking about, what's going to happen, the country. Listen, you worry about the country's gonna go into what depression and all of this in the 30s. How can that happen? Do you realize that they've had about 3 big market crashes? They call it Blue Monday, and another one they call it something Friday when the markets crash. Inside the markets of the United States, they put in what they call buffers, what you may know as a redundancy, so that when the markets crash, they would stop before they crash. So even with that, the government can produce as much finances as they want. Do you realize that for 2 years, we were in a standstill in America where only essential workers went out? They didn't worry about the utility company, didn't worry about food. People steady ate. And people survive. Why? Because in a crisis, you can survive. This earth is not going to go away. We have enough land and enough property, enough trees that if you don't have to think there's going to be apocalyptic, everybody running around screaming and starving for something to do, something to eat. But there is enough in the land of plenty, enough pecan trees, walnut trees. There are enough animals for people to say, okay, if we don't have all this other stuff, we can survive. So we don't have to work. That we can have enough money, or you can do the barter system. And if this government can shut down for 2 years, don't you know this government can do the same thing, to shut down and just transform? Even if you lost the power grid, you still could survive civilly to feed people and progress and survive. So with that being said, I want you to understand, don't let people make you think that America is about to fall and go under. Later on, I'm going to talk to you about how America, its cities, what it has and what it does, and how it does in comparison to the whole world and where we stand. And the best thing to do is have a clear mind and a clear spirit, so that you won't have fear. Because even when you go to the word of God, it tells you God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. So not being fearful and understanding where you're at spiritually, physically, and financially. And with that, I'm going to sign off. I'll be coming back to you to talk to you later on YouTube, and just so you can get yourself together, and you won't be sitting up there thinking that, hey, the sky is falling.